What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. You join me today at Catalonia. We are behind the wheel of the MG touring car, the new one that came out this week in the latest Forza update, along with the new Peugeot. Now, I've taken the Peugeot out in the previous video released on Monday. If you have seen that, thank you very much. If you have not, do please have a look on the channel. We've run a little bit too late in terms of tuning in this one here, unfortunately, so I'm only going to have time for one qualifying lap while still being able to adjust the fuel and tyres for the race. So, not been the cleanest of laps. We're overdriving a little bit, been carrying a little bit too hot into a few of these corners. We have a relatively clean run through the final corner here though, and we do put in still a pretty solid time at a 1:52.2. So it's going to be good enough for third position behind the two Peugeots in front, and we are the best of a very MG heavy field here, it would appear. It looks like it has supplanted the Audi in terms of popularity on the grid at the moment. So as a quick reminder, we are a safety rating of S and a skill rating of 4785 coming into this one, still on our hunt for 5k rating, so we've got a little way to go, but hopefully we'll be over the 4.8k mark once we've completed these here. So as we get off the line, we have a good start. We don't get too much by way of wheel spin, but we are not geared particularly great, it would appear, compared to those around us. They are going to be gaining coming down into the first corner. The guy on the left is ahead, but we managed to keep the inside. Holding it over the curb, we get chopped a little bit of contact on the passenger side wing, or the driver's side I guess, as we're in left-hand drive, and we still managed to keep the inside for the long right-hander coming up the hill here, just making sure if the guy wants to go for it, he's going to have to go the long way around. Semi-defensive into the right-hander up the hill here, once again following the Peugeots. We're already starting to lose touch to them a little bit, already gapping us by a second by the guy who was on pole. We got a little bit deep into the left-hander going downhill here, and by the time we get to the chicane, we managed to get it in nice and clean. We drift a little bit too wide, a little bit of wheel spin over the curb, unsettles the car, and I'm just looking to get a nice run over the crest here. Yeah, a little bit of lift just to keep the nose in. When you go over that, I do find it tends to wash out as the car gets unloaded going over the actual crest itself. So same with this one here, a little bit of lift just to keep the nose in check, and a good run down the final straight. But the car behind us is going to be close by the time we get to the end of the straight. We had about 0.6 of a second gap coming into the straight, but by the end of it he had pretty much halved that. So a little bit of toe plus gearing I think is beneficial to the guy behind. As you can see, we are very quickly dropping away from the guys in front. We're just coming to the end of lap 2 here. They've already put 4 seconds ahead of me by the beginning of the third lap, or the end of the third lap rather. They've got over a 5-second gap as well, so really are fighting for best of the rest in this one. We are tending to gap the one behind us a little bit until we mess up coming into this left hand and we go a bit wide, meaning we're a bit late on power coming down the hill. Still keeping about a second or so ahead, and just coming through the left hander here before the final section. We're going to be pitting the end of lap 4, as you can see here, so just looking to do a double medium stint to make sure that we can get through this one without having to worry too much about tyre wear. So as we are in pit lane, if you're doing me a big favour, as I always ask, if you drop me a like if you are enjoying this, leave me a comment letting me know what you are enjoying, and if you want to see more of these in the future, do please subscribe. Now, we are going to be the beneficiary of the fuel glitch in this one. If you are unaware of what the fuel glitch is, basically, if when you're coming into pit lane, once you've selected the tyres, before you confirm total fuel amount, if you hold fire until you can see the animation start for you to pull into the pit box, if you press confirm, then you'll skip the entire animation, make up about a second to a second and a half gap, which is why we are now so close to these Peugeots ahead of us again. How we've managed to gap the guy behind us by about 3 or 4 seconds within a lap or so. So yeah, if you manage to get that glitch working, it will massively improve your time, and I've managed to make use of it to make a few positions up. I'm not particularly happy about it being in the game, but if everyone else is using it, it's something that you kind of have to use to stay relevant, really. But yeah, turn 10, if you can fix that glitch, that would be fantastic. Right, so I've been waffling over this because the rest of the race was pretty dull, to be honest. We come home in a very distant 8th place because we were about 5-6 seconds behind the guys behind front, and about 5-6 seconds in front of the guys behind. So this will be another podium for us here. We managed to secure third here, so we were the best of the rest. The two Peugeots saw disappeared into the distance, much like the guy did off the podium just there, and we never really saw them apart from at the pit stops. So as the final times here, you'll see just how quick the other guys were. 150.8 and a 151.5 versus my 153.0, so there was a big gap there. We were never really going to get any better than third. But we switch to the second race of the video here. We are at Suzuka once again. Hopefully this time we'll actually manage to get through and do a race, unlike what happened with the Peugeots. We've got a solid first lap, 2 2:12.7 we'll call it. Good enough for P2. Looking on this second run here to see if we can get a much better time. We get a bit out of shape coming through the Degners. We are up about 0.2 coming into it. We drop just below 0.2 coming out of them. As we are on a run down to Spoon here, we're just back over 0.2 once again. Spoon has always been a tricky corner for me. As you saw the Peugeot video, you'd have seen me talking about it there as well. This one's a pretty good run. We get a little bit of mid-corner sort of oversteer there. We had to steer into it, but even still with that, we are over 0.6 of a second so far, nearly half a second through that corner alone. Do end up taking a couple of stabs, getting through 130R there. Not quite the best line to come through that. We drop a little bit of potential time here, braking around the 100, making sure you take as much of the curb as you can to keep it legal through the Casio triangle on the throttle nice and early, powering down towards the line, the shortest line possible, and we improved by 0.5 of a second there for what was P2, but we will unfortunately drop all the way back to P4 by the time qualifying was done. I did jump in and do it a bit early as it was looking a bit grey and gloomy. I wanted to make sure I got a clean lap in without any form of potential weather. So starting from P4, we've got a LMG in front of us here, so no Peugeots fighting at the front of this one. It is all the MGs. As you can see, there's about 6 of us lined astern out the front of the grid here, so these do look to be particularly strong cars. Don't know if turn 10 are going to get into a balance with these ones or not. They never really did with the Audi, but we will see how it goes. We get off the line relatively smoothly. We are alongside the other MG with the Red Bull livery, so we're going to give him a bit of space, and we're just going to keep it nice and tight to the right hand side. We tried to drift out a little bit to box the guy there, but he was I was a bit too aggressive in trying to sort of box him out a little bit, so I'll lift off and give him the position there because I didn't want to have any form of collision really at that point. So dropping down to P5 at the beginning of this race here, struggling on these cold tyres to get some good lines. We are sliding about a little bit. As I say, the tune is not quite in the position I want it to be. We're not taking the greatest of lines through here either. We'll get a little bit too deep on that curb, drop a wheel into the dirt. Coming out of Degners, not the greatest of runs, a little bit late on the throttle, was carrying a bit too much speed through there. We try and have a look up the inside of the MG in front of us. We've not really got the space to get on the power with him sort of there on the outside, so we're going to just try and slot in behind, see if we can pick up a little bit of a tow. Not really sure if we're going to be able to make anything here. We have actually been promoted to P4 because there was a guy who just disconnected from the race within the first lap here as well. Not really got the opportunity to do anything going into Spoon, just looking to stay as close as we can through Spoon to get a good run down towards 130R. So we're going to sit in this guy's slipstream. A little bit of a spoiler for the race here. We're going to have a pretty good battle with this guy here, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't quite sure how quick he was going to make it through 140R. I thought I'd braked enough, but then he was going a bit slower, so I panic braked, and that dropped us back about a second down the road. We get a better run through the Casio triangle here. We get a little bit greedy on exits, not the best of exits onto the start finish straight, but we do close up by the end of the straight here, coming through turn 1. We close the gap all the way up here, and just looking to see if we can maybe get something going on here. I think I feel like I am faster on pace at this point, especially here where I have a little bit of an accidental collision coming through the end of the S's. This guy's just quick enough in the places he needs to be to keep me behind him, but yeah, we're looking to see, we are right over the back of this guy. We also have someone behind us now looking to see if we can get into the fight here. I get a little bit too aggressive on throttle coming out of the corner here and surrender this position up far too easily, so we are down to P5. We catch up by the Casio triangle at the end of lap 2, and we are once again on the bumper of the green MG. The black MG there managing to get past that guy relatively easily. I was a little bit perturbed. I was hoping he was going to get slowed up a little bit like I've been up until this point, but no, he managed to dispatch him within a couple of corners. Having a look to see if we can get some moves done in some weird and wonderful places where I've got a bit more power, so a bit more pace. We get up the inside through the exit of Spoon. We leave egg space on the exit because the guy is still there. It's not really where I want to be going side by side on the run down to 130R, it must be said. I brake, accidentally double shift down to 4th there, and basically the pistons sound like they're going to start dancing out the top of the engine, so we have to concede that position there. We have a look to see if we can slide up the inside coming into the Casio triangle. I go a little bit deep, again give the guy a little bit of contact, so I back out to make sure that he retains that position. So we have a look getting in the slipstream, come down start finish straight. We're only at the beginning of lap 4. We're going to be looking to pit at the end of this one. I probably should have pit lap 3 thinking about it and got the undercut and see if I could have survived for one more lap on some slightly worse tyres, but we look to be a bit more racy at this point. Not quite the gap there at the beginning of the S's, but I try something a bit different here. Go a bit slower on the wide, just gun the throttle on the way up in and catch him napping, slide up the inside coming through up through Dunlop curve, race down towards the Degners. We are just a about ahead. Not really sure. He ducks in behind me. I just carry a bit too much speed. My tyres have just dipped into moderate tread. I wasn't really paying enough attention to that. Expected more grip than I had, and we just drift off into the gravel. So we managed to get the move done and then lose it again just by our own ineptitude. So looking to see if we can get something going through here. We're going to once again try and use the fuel glitch to get ahead. We're going to select for the medium tyre so we can do a medium stint, and we're just going to pause on pressing skip, wait until we see the animation change in front of us. That car has just pit. Slight change in animation, you press the button and that's it, job done. You can see the green guy there now behind us coming out of pit lane, so it's jumped us a good second and a half through that there. So now we're clear. We're going to see if we can hopefully catch to the guys ahead. I did feel I was being held up a little bit, so we're just going to put ourselves in position here to see if we can maybe hunt down and get the final podium spot. We got a little bit wide through the second part of the opening lap here because the cold tyres and asking a little bit too much from them. As you can see, we managed to gap the guy behind by about 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds. We do catch up to the pack ahead by the middle of lap 5. By lap 6 we're maintaining about a 3-second gap to the guys ahead, but the guy behind is not sort of dropping off. He's still at 1.5, so maybe I was a bit overestimating my speed here. We are closing down a little bit. We go a bit wide through the hairpin, but still about 3 seconds away from the guys ahead and about 1 second away from the guy behind. We mess up the Casio triangle a little bit at the end of lap 6, so we're going to have a lot to do on this last lap if we want to get that P3 and keep our streak of podiums going. So coming through the S's here, we get very out of shape through the first one. We have to shift down to third to get the nose back in line, so not a great run down through there, which means we drop to about 4 seconds behind the guys in front and only about a second ahead of the guy behind. He is on an absolute tear, coming out of spoon. He's gone only 0.8 of a second now behind us, and we're still about 4 seconds behind the guys in front, so it's just looking to see if we can maintain to that guy here. I absolutely bottle 130R, ruin that one off here. We are very slow on the way down to the Casio triangle. We brake at the 100, trying to hold the inside. Once again, we go very deep. The guy manages to avoid me. I give him the inside of the chicane there. I'm not really sure where he is, and at this point I realise I don't really want to beat this guy because of that stupid glitch, so I let off the throttle to let him back past. He gets very confused. I'm trying to get him to go ahead of me, and at the end I just end up baiting him right by the line, so he ends up crossing it before me, so he does get the 4th position and we go back to our rightful 5th. So yeah, not the greatest of races, but still a pretty good one. We end up just beating our 4.8k target for our skill rating in this one here. Yeah, some good finishing in this one, but not the best of races. They were kind of a bit formulaic. So in terms of my views on the MG, I think it could be pretty good. I need to spend a bit more time with it. Obviously, it's a very popular car, being a new touring car, so expect to see it in all of your lobbies. Might be time for me to check out the Audi now that it's not the OP meta car. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. If you did, drop me a like, leave me a comment, and subscribe for plenty more videos in the future. If you want to see me bring out the Peugeot, that is the video on the left-hand side. On the right is the playlist for all by Forza videos. So have a trawl through there and see if there's something you like. And yeah, I hope to catch you in the next one. Cheers.